Hello everyone, my name is Alan Jones and I give you a very warm welcome to another life story coming to you from Lifestories worldwide. We bring you stories from all over the world and the stories go out again all over the world. Stories of people who've gone through all different struggles in their life, abuse and challenges, but also how those lives have been transformed. Today we have a couple from St. Helens, Bob and Pat Mathie, who are going to share their story in a moment. If you want to contact us, you can contact us on our website. All the contact information is there, lifestoriesworldwide.com. You can find there a Bible app that you can download and lots of other very interesting information that you can log on to. Also, these stories can be watched time and time again on our YouTube channel. If you go to Life Stories at lunch, you can watch all the previous stories from other Mondays. And we encourage you to press the subscription button, subscribe, and tell your friends to subscribe as well to these stories. They're going out today on StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube, and Facebook and YouTube, and Zoom. Zoom, of course. Before I introduce Bob and Pat, I'd like to bring you a little story. I said we'd like to bring stories sometime of what God is doing. This is a story from Colombia, from a couple who are working there as missionaries in Colombia. Just a few weeks back, we went to one of the poorest areas of the city to give out clothes to a very needy community, a neighborhood called The Miracle. It was more of a miracle than we had even imagined. We packed 90 donation bags and gave out 75 tickets to needy families. We kept 15 bags in reserve. As always, more people come. And after the people with tickets had gone through, we gave out 28 bags to people without tickets. We could only think that all the 75 original ticket holders had not come. However, when we counted the tickets, we had 75. This meant we had in reality given out 103 bags, and we still had 30 left over in the truck. Praise God, we're able to go to another community that we were helping and bless them too. We love it when things like this happen, when we can only say it was the Lord. That's just to encourage you that God still is at work in these days. And today, you're going to hear how God is at work in Bob and Pat Mathie's lives. I'm going to hand over now to Bob and Pat to share their story. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. It's really good to be given the opportunity and the privilege to share with you tonight our story. And we've been married 49 years, me and my good lady wife. And over those years, we've accumulated quite a story of ups and some downs, but I'm happy to say that tonight that God has been faithful to us throughout. Sure, we will have peaks and troughs and highs and lows. And the thing is that God is with us in the low times. He doesn't leave us. So I'd just like to share, if I could, my story. We've been blessed as a couple. We've travelled all over the world, kind of thing. We've been to, I've been to Africa, Poland, Greece, Australia. We've both been to Australia, New Zealand, Ukraine. That was a very interesting place to be, Ukraine. But it's not always been that kind of a life. When we first met, I was working in a garage in St. Helens. I was a mechanic in a garage, and this beautiful young lady came in one day to buy a car. And although she lived in the same street as me for a great number of years, I'd never seen her. So she came in to buy a car, and she had a little Fiat 500, a little red thing. It looked like a jelly mold. and she bought a new car. So my eye was quite taken, I must say. But it didn't register with me at the time that I was taking a child seat out of the little Fiat and putting it in the new car. I was so bright. I didn't realise that she might be married. It never occurred to me. But anyway, to cut a long story short, she bought the car, and my boss knew Pat, and he said to me, he said, listen, he said, that lady is a widow and she's got a young child. And if you were thinking along any lines of asking her out, whatever you do, don't hurt her. That's what he said to me. But I was a young man, I was in my mid-20s, and I fancied this beautiful young lady, so I asked her out. And we had several dates, and we struck up a relationship. And to cut a long story short, we were married later on. And I was quite happy. I had an instant family. I had a little daughter called Tracy.
Lifestories Worldwide is broadcast live every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time. We broadcast on YouTube, Facebook and StreamYard. Why not join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time for Lifestories Worldwide. Speak to us here at Lifestories Worldwide. You can simply by dialing +44 7943 550287. Call us now.
And I had a beautiful wife called Pat. And all was good for around 7 years. And then after the 7 years, things started to go pear-shaped. I was a musician. I played in a rock and roll band. I used to play in pubs and clubs. And I was out 7 nights a week. And I used to frequent this club, Instant Helens. It was a drinking club. But I used to go out not to get drunk or not to have too much, but I just went out to be with the boys. It was comradeship. And Pat, quite rightly, got fed up. I was having a gay old time. I was having a good time. But I wasn't giving much attention to my wife or my child. And she left me for a short period, which made me kind of think what I was doing. And I asked her, would she come back to me? And I'll try to turn over a new leaf and I'll try to reform myself. So she did come back. But anyhow, I found myself out at this same club. And one evening, as I was having a drink and a game of snooker, this guy came in that I knew, that we all knew. And he said that he had cancer. And I gave him the best advice I could. And I said, listen, I said, we are your friends. You can rely on us. We will look after you. If you need anything, we'll do our best to get it for you. We're your mates. We're your friends. We are all that you need. There was another man sat in that club that night. His name was Norman Barrett, and he was the granddaddy of gospel rock music. He was a fabulous guitarist and singer. And I really, really looked up to this guy. And he turned round to me after I'd given Stephen my advice of how we could look after him. And he said, Bob, he said, you're wrong. He said, he needs Jesus. He said, and so do you. Well, that's not what I had gone out to hear. I listened to what he had to say when he was talking to this other man. And he was telling him how he could have his sins forgiven, have a new start, maybe even get healed. And I turned around to Norman and I said, listen, I want to talk to you again about all this. I said, but I'm going home now. And I got in my car and I started to drive home. And I'm going up a couple of miles from home. I'm going up a local steep hill called Mossbank Brow. It's a famous thing round our parts anyway. And it was as if someone held a mirror in front of me. And I didn't like what I saw. I realised that I could offer that man nothing. Nothing at all. And this other guy had offered him eternal life. I saw myself as a waste of time, as dirty, no good to my wife, no good to my child, just no good at all, really. And as I'm driving home, I kind of said, if there's anybody up there, meaning God, I said, if there's anybody up there, and I know there is, can you do something with me? And it was instant. It was like I'd put a couple of heavy bags of shopping down, the feeling, the weight that went off my shoulders. And I didn't know what was happening. I went home. Pat was in bed. I went up and I woke her up. And I said, Pat, I've just met Jesus coming home. And she looked at me, because Pat wasn't a Christian. And she looked at me and, okay, all right. The following day, I phoned my friend up who'd told me about Jesus, and I told him what had happened on the way home. And he said, yeah, he said, you've been saved. You've been born again. I said, what? I didn't understand what he was saying, because it was what we call jargon. It was Christian language. And he said, Luke, he said, when you cried out, if there's anybody up there, he said,
it's very easy to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Life Stories at Lunch, to receive notifications of when we are live. Simply click the bell. If you would like to contact us here at Life Stories Worldwide, you can. Simply by emailing lifestoriesworldwide@gmail.com or visit our website at lifestoriesworldwide.com.
hello, am I still there? He said, yes, he said, you've been saved, you've been born again. I said, what's saved? And he said, well, it's like a footballer when he's taking a penalty. If he doesn't score and the goalkeeper catches it, he said, the ball's been saved from going into the net. He said, you've been saved from going into hell. He said, you've been born again. You've been given a brand new start. And I thought, wow, that's fabulous. So I heard all about being born again. I read about it after it had happened to me. It was wonderful. Pat will tell you that that evening there was a different man came home to the one that went out. And I'm going to invite Pat now to share her story of how she came to know Jesus. Okay.
Well, hi everybody. Just want to share just a section of my life, what happened to me some years ago. When I was younger, there was nowhere for me to go out, playing anywhere, nothing for the youth of the day at that time. You could only play on your front. So I decided at the age of 17 to go and join the army. And I loved it. I loved being in the army. I used to drive the big 4-ton trucks and everything. And then I met Tony, this guy called Tony Butcher. And we got on great together. And eventually he asked me to marry him, and I said yes, obviously. And we hadn't been married very long, but we ended up having a daughter, Tracy, as Bob said. But after that, not long after that, he went the army itself, and Tony was in the bomb disposal unit, the Royal Army Ordnance Corps. They had to go on tour in Northern Ireland, where all the troubles were. So they went out. They were only supposed to do 3 months, and the others 6 months. But this particular time, they went out, and he managed to wangle a week off to come home, because only allowed a weekend. He came back for his birthday for the 24th of February because he was 24, and he had 15 days to do when he went back. This particular day, there's a car that had been on its own for a long time, so they left it for a while, and it was Tony and Chris Cracknell. They checked the boot. There was a fake bomb in there, but on the back seat, there was another one. And as Chris was going forward, the bomb exploded, killed Chris, and it killed Tony. I knew, and that sounds strange, but I knew he died because I felt something leave me. And then when they did come and tell me eventually, trying to find out where I was, because I went to the NAFI and left Tracy with next door, they come running in both entrances, and all I remember is screaming. My whole world, the bottom of my world just went away from me. I'm there thinking, I've got a daughter. I was 19 and a widow at 21. I didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do. But in the cul-de-sac where we are in married quarters, there was a young couple, an Irish couple, and they wouldn't come out of the house because of being afraid of what the people might say. And when I found out, I knew it was the bombers I had a problem with, but I knew not everybody was bad. I knew there was innocent people in Northern Ireland who were just as afraid of what was going on. But you never expect something like that to land on your own doorstep. So I went to see this couple. I gave them a love and told them not to be afraid, because I didn't have anything against them. They had nothing, no involvement in it. And they just hugged me, and I hugged them. I said, please come out. Nobody's going to say anything to you. I said, there's nothing for me to forgive with you, because you're innocent. Anyway, after that, there was like me and Chris Cracknell, who was with Tony, his wife, had a son and I had a daughter. So there was 2 widows in one go. It's the only ones that have been blown up together ever up to now that I know of. So like I say, I was 19 and a widow at 21 with a daughter. Trying to work out what I was going to do with my life, where was I supposed to go, what was I supposed to do. The whole world changed in an instant, and I felt, I didn't think this could happen to you. But Tony said if anything happened to him, that I was to get married again.
If you would like to contact us here at Life Stories Worldwide, you can. Simply by emailing lifestoriesworldwide@gmail.com or visit our website at lifestoriesworldwide.com.